So I guess the place to start, if we're talking about sort of bridging movies and games, let's talk about storytelling. When you're beginning a project like Death Stranding, what are you thinking about first? Is it, because it's a game, is it the gameplay aspects first, or are you thinking about that story?
それぞれあるんですけど、
Well, I think both
最初にストーリーを考えたり、
But
思いついたりするっていうのは、
I kind of have sometimes think about the story first
小説にするとか映画にするとか、
and think about what to
ゲー
do,
ムにする場合は
write a
ゲームの
book.
ギミックを考えます。
And if I decide to make a game, I would think about the gimmick of the game.
あるいはそのビジュアルだけが出てきて、
Or sometimes a visual pops up in my
映像が出
mind,
てきて、
like a
そこか
scene.
らストーリーを
And then I kind of think about story then.
もう一つちょっと特徴的な
And
の
one
は、
more,
何かのその、日常の感覚みたいな、
I might kind of have it like a normal feeling, like
何か誰かから追われてて、
like someone's like
隠れてるシーン
chasing me and
この
I have to
ドキドキ感
hide.
を
And I kind of think of it, and I want to make it in a game, this
この緊
tension.
張感、このドキドキ感を
And I want to kind of
生かすような世界観と
represent
ス
that.
トーリーを作る。
So I kind of then think about
それぞれ
what I put in a game
で
or a story.
デストランディングの
The
場合は
approach is all totally
最
different
初
how I come up with ideas.
ビーチに
First, Death Stranding,
が座礁してて、
I had the image of the
裸の男がこ
beach
う横たわってる
and the dolphins
映像が
or
パッと出て
whales were stranded and a naked guy kind of was on the beach, and that was an imagery first, and that started Death Stranding.
So you have this, you want to create an emotion in the player. It's difficult in games, though, because you can't necessarily control, because my experience of playing Death Stranding might be very different to Nicholas's or Aki's. So how do you make sure that the players are getting the experience that you want them to have?
確かにそうなんですけど、
Well, that's true.
映画の場合は
But in
主
movies,
人公がいて、
there's a main character,
主人公の後頭部というか、こう
and you're
この
kind of
辺が
following his
こう
behind from the head. You're kind of following him in a
体
movie,
験を疑似体験する。
and you're kind of having this
そういう
experience
こと
through
で
the
ドラマ
main
がある
character.
んですけ
You
ど、
know, see the drama
ゲーム
behind
の場
it.
合はやっぱり自
But
分
for
が
games,
右に行くか左に行くか、
You decide whether you go right or
もう
left.
そこのやっぱり、経験値というか、
So you get
大
more
きさが全然違うので
experience in this game
ゲームの
because you
強さ
control that. And I think that's one of the powers of the
なるべ
game.
く生かすように。
And I really want to kind of implement
だから
that.
映画とかの作り方と
So it's a little different than creating a movie, even the story plot.
Yeah. And then what's your process like, Nicholas? Do you start with an idea of a story, an emotion, a genre, a setting? Where are you beginning your storytelling from?
Well, it's actually very similar to Hideo. You know, we've known each other for quite a number of years now, so we're actually very similar. We even look alike. Kind of. We're around
I think we're all
age.
wearing the same glasses, aren't we?
And we're both married. We both have kids. We live probably pretty boring lives. So our creativities are kind of otherworldly. And but for me, it's always either a vision, something you think about, you see something, someone says something, a concept one day. And I think all creativity comes from some kind of idea of expression. And I gave up trying to figure it out, and I just kind of wait to see what happens.
Is it difficult in the sort of the, well, I suppose in both the games, movies, television, that creativity sometimes is sort of not stifled but restricted by what publishers or people that are going to pay you to make this stuff know sells well, or people are going to watch? Does that hamper your creativity in terms of storytelling at all?
I mean, absolutely, but you know, if you don't know money in entertainment, it's like a painter not knowing paint, you know, because they're so go hand in hand. Of course, the digital revolution has allowed a lot of variations, and you can say creativity is such an important part of our lives, especially our children. I can at least look at my own children, and how to use technology creatively. You know, both Hideo and I make an art form that's very expensive. So obviously we're always out chasing the money to get it made. And, you know, we lie, steal, promise, come on, all the things we do to get what we need. But, you know, a lot of it also comes from what else are you going to do with your life? So there is this kind of hunger that comes from it. But, you know, as long as you make something with the intention that it's 100% you and no one loses money, you're going to be okay.
So, Mr. Kojima, you are very famous for making games that are, you know, that have stories that are quite complex, that are very many layers to them. And one of the criticisms of the creative industry in the last decade or so is that things have been simplified. There are very straightforward stories to tell. And is that having an impact on you at all, do you think, going forward? Or are you going to keep making your games and your stories in the way that you've been doing for 30-odd years?
まあシンプルなものもいいと思うんですけど、
Well, I think simplicity is good,
消費されてしまうので、
but it gets consumed very
食べ
quickly.
物でもそうなんです。
It's like food.
消化のいいものは
Anything that's really digestible,
まあ下から出てしまう。
it just goes out and flows, right? And it doesn't remain in the body.
We've all been there. We've all been there. So, come on, that's fine.
でやっぱりこうちょっとこう違和感があるというか、
But something that's
消化できないもの
awkward,
っていうのは
that is not
体内に
really
留まるんで
digestible, it remains in your body.
でちょっとわからないものっていうのはやっぱ
And
り
you don't know what it is.
まあ人間ってまあ知的好奇心があるんで、
And human has this intellectual
そう気になる。
feeling
わからな
that
いまま
they
体の中
kind
に
of like linger.
で
What is
まあ映
this?
画であれば何回も見る。
Like, for instance, a movie, if that lingers in
あるいは友達と
you watch it again over and over, or you talk with your friends about that movie. What was that about? Or maybe take time and rewatch again or rethink of it again. And you kind of start to understand the real meaning. And it begins to be a real body, your blood and meat. And it remains in your body fluid and not just come out.
がやっぱり僕は作りたい。
And I want to create that kind of
そう
thing.
いう映画とか小説とか
So whether it's a
を見て
movie
育ってきたの
or
で、
books,
僕はその
I
経験
grew
はやっ
up
ぱりそのゲームでやってるだけ。
watching movies or things like that. So I just do that in
結構
games.
難しいとか言われますけど、
Everyone says it's
その
complicated,
人がまあその難解なものを持ち帰っ
but I
て、
think everyone should
20年経
just
った時に初めて分かることもあると思うんで。
and maybe nourish it for 5 or 10 years, and maybe they will start to understand. And I really want to create those kind of things.
Yeah, so you're looking to make experiences that people have to invest in, don't they? They have to sort of give of themselves to get the most out of your products, I guess.
とか刺激がないと人は成長しないので、
I think stimulation
知
is
らないもの
needed
を
to
見るから
grow.
広く大きく
You kind of find out things you don't know.
知っ
That's
てる
why
もの
you
とか消化の
grow.
いいものばっかり食べて
So
ると
anything you
体は大きく
know
ならない。
or anything
頭も大きくならない
easy to eat, you know, you
経
won't
験にならないの
grow
で
or your brain
やっぱり
won't grow.
た
It
まには
won't
そう
be
い
an
うのも食べ
experience.
てほしい。
So sometimes I want people to kind of eat something that is not really easy to digest, mine especially, but sometimes maybe have that kind of.
やっぱ味はいいものにしたい。
But I'd really want to make that thing delicious, mind you.
Are you a fast food guy then, Nicolas, or you're more, or are your films more also sort of three-course dinners, or you know, how would you define your work in this context?
I'm more like fine wine. It ages really well. Well, I think, I mean, there's a great point in that most entertainment is shit. I mean, it is. Even my kids think it's shit. And, you know, what creativity can do, like really nothing else, is that it can penetrate your mind or your heart, however you experience, or your gut, and then it stays with you and it travels with you for the rest of your life. And if you look at evolution, culture has always been the forefront of everything. Culture is like oxygen for us. And it's sacred in a way. Very soon the AI is going to be doing a lot of things of our lives, and it's going to take over many parts of our lives. But what the AI can never do, it can never create, because it doesn't know failure. It doesn't cry. And creativity is based on the idea that you can fail. And most of us do once in a while, maybe more in the sense of being now. But if you're fine wine like me, you're just ahead of your time. It's true, actually. And I think that's what, in a way, is the obligation for people that have the opportunity to create to the mass market, is our obligation is to feed, but make it different. Because that essentially what's going to make the world a more interesting place. Because creativity inspires a reaction creates a thought. And I always say, everyone liking something is just the opposite of everyone hating it. That's easy enough. But if you can create something that people either love with such a passion or they hate it so much, that is the first time you've done something correct.